Hi, this is the 12th of February. It's Vaughan Smith, Westcote Bell Pottery in Nova Scotia, sunny Nova Scotia again. But it's still cold. We haven't been above freezing for a week, but and the snow is all still there. But it's pretty and all that, and the gulls are all out there, so life is good. Okay, I am going to make some plates. I haven't made many plates so far this year. So I've got 16 balls there. 12 here, 8 there, and another 8 there. This piece of clay is just over 1.5 pounds. All right, so, and I'm going to bang it down. Plates are very easy. Is that a good view? Yes, it is. This is the Speckle 455 manganese speckle in a basic stoneware body. And the first one you do when you've got this weight of clay is you're going to try and find what size you can get. All the balls of clay are pretty close. I haven't weighed them on them, I just cut them evenly. So you're basically just squashing the clay down when you do a plate. And then you use your rubber rib, something flexible that's other than the heel of your hand, to just compress that clay down so you get a nice flat bottom to the plate. And then basically you stick your little finger underneath. Let's get it wet again. Stick your little finger underneath and just push the forefinger of your other hand across your little finger, and the clay will just squeeze right out. So plates are pretty quick to do. That's why I gave myself so many balls of clay, because I can throw a plate in about 1.5 minutes. And then compress the rim a little bit. And then you take your little sticker. It's got a point, and you put that just to where the plate goes to, and make sure you don't touch the plate. So you don't want to go any bigger than that stick, tall or width. Okay, so, and then you got to be careful when you lift this off the wheel each time that you don't catch it. Feels like a bit bigger lump of clay. So you're really just trying to center it, and as soon as you feel like you got that point of center, you start squishing down. Yeah, I definitely think there's a bit more clay in this ball of clay. And then use your rubber rib to kind of give yourself a flat base. It's still smaller than the point. And then same again, stick your finger underneath and just pull your finger across the top of your little finger. That groove is just there. You just see that. And that is the same size now as the last plate. It's probably a little heavier because the clay was heavier. But I'm trying to maintain the size of the rim and the foot that will be underneath. So the foot of the last plate, when they're stored, will be inside that little opening there, and that way they'll be very flat in the cupboard. Right. This one is a bit less clay. By the time that if I was measuring my clay really precisely, which I can do, it takes time. And then I've seen potters that bang every ball of clay, the square lumps of clay, they'll bang them all into little round balls before they put them on the wheel. And by the time they've done all that, I'm already finished, because I don't do that. I mean, I can throw a lot of pieces if you know, if you're banging all these balls of clay. But if you're a beginner and you're really trying to be, you know, make it your life easier, it's good to make round balls of clay. But once you're strong enough and you've built up that wrist and hand strength, you can actually revert to just putting the clay as squares on your wheel. Okay, it's a little finger. This one is a little kink on it too, so I'll probably trim the rim a little bit. There was a lump of harder clay inside this one, I think, and that happens. If it's annoying, you can trim it off. Let's see. That one is just a bit too small, so I'm going to squish a little harder. Pushing in with my finger, and so I've got rid of that little bit that was off. Okay, so now we've got 3 plates that are the same size. Okay, so I'm going to pull this back because I'm going to do a different size. Let's make sure this is still sort of hard on there. Okay, these ones are 2-pound balls of clay. Round it off, even though it's not a ball of clay. If you round off the bottom, let's push that back a bit further while I'm doing the first one. Now I'm guessing the kitchen countertops and the cupboards that are above them may well only be about 11 3/4 inches deep. Since that one lady had that problem, I must assume a lot of people have that problem, unless they're storing them in a different type of cupboard. So I try not to make my plates over, well, after firing they shouldn't be bigger than 11 3/4 inches. That's a pretty big dinner plate too. Make sure you're not going too deep. This bat's banging around a little bit. The pinholes are probably a bit worn out. So now we get the rubber rib. Flatten it down. It's a good idea to really compress the clay down. Same again, little finger underneath, finger above, and just push it out. Don't go too far, because you never know, if you haven't weighed your clay properly, then your next ball of clay might be a bit smaller than this one. So I try not to make it too thin. And then I've just got rid of all the water. Sometimes I do a spiral in the center, but on a plate that kind of annoys some people because of the cutting meat or something. You go up and down with the knife. It doesn't cut very easily. So okay, let's set this up again. There we go. So we go. We got another 2 pounds. All right. There you go. I threw a bunch of T-balls yesterday. And I did some fluting on some of them this morning, but a lot of them aren't dry enough. There we go. In fact, at the beginning of this video, there's some T-balls on the photo stand there that somebody's ordering. There we go. Alright, so this is the right size just about, so I don't need to do much as far as taking it out any further. Let's see if I'm going to... No, I'm still just under it, that's good. So that was perfect because it was the right size straight away. Yep, it's perfect. So all I did was lift up the rim a little bit. These plates I actually don't glaze the rims. I use a pebble when I'm trimming them to smooth out the rim, because it's a really nice contrast between the glazed area in the middle and the natural clay rim. These white bats are so new that they're really hard to get off the pins. I made these about a year ago, my friend and I. December 21st, January 21st, and then 15. So yes, we're over halfway through winter. Well, it was a late winter too. Just over a week ago we had really warm weather and we were going for outdoor walks. And now it's not been above -4 centigrade. Most days it's about -6 to -8 for the high, and then at night it's going down to about -15. There you go. So you just have to be careful when you let go that you don't let go too fast. And then watch that pin, my marker, so I don't get too wide. Flatten it down. And then your little finger, get a bit of water on that area there. Your little finger goes underneath and your forefinger just presses above the little finger. So your little finger's pushing in a bit. And you, there we go. Oh, we're right on the mark. So that's another one. When I've finished, I'll measure all 3. It's good to know that if you get an order for something, how much clay you need to get that. Wow, that's right on the mark as well. I must be getting, my eye must be starting to. Alright, so this is now 2 3/4 pounds. Take the needle back. If they get really big, this one's fine. But any bigger than 3 pounds of clay, for instance, it's a good idea. I've shown you before, you wedge your elbow into a wall when you're centering. This is brand new clay. So it's in really good shape. There was only one little lump of hard clay so far. And usually that means they just picked up a bit of dry clay when they were banging the soft clay around at the factory, which is unavoidable every so often, I guess. So let's have another look. It's a bit thick still in the bottom there. I sell a lot of my dinner sets that have the Landscape Cove series on. They're, it's the ocean washing into a sort of little fishing cove with the sky and clouds above. And it's very abstract. I mean, they're poured glazes. I've shown it in an earlier video, but I'll do it with these two. I can show you again. In my early videos, I had no editing skills whatsoever, so they might put people to sleep. Alright, so you can see how big we got. So now, my guess is this is already 11 and some inches, but I've got to make it bigger than 11 3/4 if I can, because they'll shrink. So I'm going to go out a little further on this one. Let's try and get up to 12. Wet it. It's a bit dry underneath actually. There you go, that's better. No, it's still dry. Let's get some water underneath. I'm catching my finger. So out a bit further. My feeling is that one is about 12 inches now. I do some plates with a very wide rim too, so this is just one style of plate. I can show you one of those right at the end. Okay, so then we take the pin in again. And try not to stab the piece. There we go. Right. So there we go. We'll do one of these, and then I'll make one with a rim. There we are. Now I've had surgery on both my hands about 12-13 years ago for carpal tunnel surgery syndrome. So as a potter, if you're potters, just be wary of that. Repetitive motion syndrome. But I used to do a lot of stencil work and a lot of carved pieces, functional carved pieces. You'll see in my gallery virtual tours. I still do it occasionally, but that process gave me carpal tunnel. Cutting stencils out with scissors and X-Acto knives, or holding a mug and carving with your hands kind of folded a little bit and bent to hold the mug and hold the little narrow tool. So think about all those things. Shoulder issues. I have shoulder pain most nights because of what I'm doing during the day. So I do some exercises with rubber bands. They're all online. You can get those. Just type in shoulder pain, stretch exercises, resistance exercises, and you'll see a whole bunch of them. I have rubber bands set up at the studio here and at home. But if I feel like it's coming on, I just do those, and it sort of keeps it under control. There we go. Yep, I got about an inch to go yet. She's just right. So then, little finger underneath one of these fingers, get some water on the top, and just stretch it out and keep watching that pin. Still got a tiny bit to go, so let's shorten the rim. So I pushed out the bowl of the plate. I don't like the rim to be too big on these. Oh, perfect. The nicest word in the English language. Alright, so that's another one that's exactly the same size. So the idea is the foot after trimming will fit inside the bowl area of this one, so they'll be flat as you stack them. This one's hard to get off. Sometimes the pins, it's funny, some of them are so worn out, and other times the pins are actually very loose. I maybe come out and do one. And they're pretty simple to do. Bailey has videos. Tucker Pottery has videos on repairing kilns. They're all on YouTube. Most kilns are related to breakdown of breakers, relays. They're not breakers, I suppose. They're called relays. That's why you can hear clicking when you're firing a kiln. Now, because I'm going to do this where I can feel a ripple in this, so I'm going to cone it up a bit. And elements. Those are the most common things that break down. If your computer kiln has a panel breakdown, that's expensive. And you just buy a new one. A new panel, not a new kiln. But I've done that, and they're easy to take the front off and replace. It's just intimidating. Alright, so then you get the rib, the rubber rib, and press down to compress and take it out. Okay, we'll leave enough clay to get a big rib. So if you're doing, this gets a little harder, those other plates are so easy. But you're just going to pull a wall like you normally would for anything. Now it's a little tricky. If you stay on the same level, it will stick to your fingers, so keep your hands moving up the wall. And I'm just using my fingertips. just like that. I'm pressing my fingertips towards each other and moving up through the wall as I press. So I never go around at the same level twice. And that way your fingers will stay on the wet area. There we go. So there's the little groove underneath to make the wire cut easily. Now this is important because I also give people the option of hanging plates on the wall so they have that little groove. The other ones I just did, I don't usually do this, but if it's got a large rim, it suddenly becomes like a decorative surface that you can do something on. There's no reason you shouldn't do it to the other ones. But anyway, so we have that flange there, so get all the water off everywhere. And then very carefully, with the wheel going fairly slow, these fingers are just going to touch, they're not going to do anything much underneath. But these two, these two like a chopper are going to go down like that and just put some pressure on the rim, lift them up about 1 centimeter from the bottom of the plate so you leave that little ball. And you just put some pressure going out. But because you took all the water off, it's not going to go slippery on your fingers and then stick to your fingers on a dry spot. It's only if you leave a tiny bit of water on that, suddenly your fingers will slide fast, and that can make it go off center. And there's your plate with a rim from 2 3/4 pounds of clay. So let me quickly measure these. So you can see what we got, 2 3/4 pounds of clay. Yeah, this has centimeters too, so oh, that's a 13 1/4 inch plate that'll shrink down to just under 12 inches. So this would maybe be too big for one of those cupboards. In centimeters, it's 33 1/4 centimeters. 33 1/2 centimeters, sorry. Let's get this one out of the way. Alright, so what did we have for this one? This one is 2 3/4 pounds as well. And this one is 11 3/4 across by 29 1/2 centimeters. So that's easily going to fit inside that cupboard. And then the next one, which was 2 pounds of clay, is just under 9 3/4 inches across by 24 1/2 centimeters. And the small one, which was about 1 1/2 to 1 3/4 pounds of clay, is 8 1/2 inches across by 21 1/2 centimeters. Alright, and that's a dinner set eventually. Now we have to trim the pieces. So when you're trimming plates, you can use your wheel with some lumps of clay. It's holding the plate down if you want to. You can use the giffing grip that has pads on it that you can do that. But I've found over the years that the simplest way is to take one of your bats, this is a 16-inch, maybe it's 15-inch bat, and basically glue a rubber pad on the surface of it. And this is just a yoga rubber pad. It was a big, I think it was 6 feet by 2 feet, and my wife was using it and I took it. Anyway, I made a lot of these out of it. I've got different size ones. This one is about 16 inches across. And then you have to put a hole through the pad so you can see where the pin will go, where the bat is, onto the actual wheel head, and you place it down. And there you go. So basically, just a pin heads. I drilled all the way through the bat thing there so I can see the pin. And you place it down. And I've got those black lines, some of them are kind of faded now, where I actually can center the plate almost immediately. There's one of the plates. Now, in between throwing them and getting them to this stage, when they were about 2 hours old, after throwing them, I put them back on the wheel and flattened the rim a little bit more, just identically to when I was throwing it, because the rim lifts up a little bit, actually about 3/4 of an inch, so a couple of centimeters. And so it's a good idea to press it back down again while it's spinning, just so you can keep the rim as flat as possible. And this was practically flat because the clay was a lot stiffer at that point. This is 2 hours after you've thrown it, maybe 2 or 3. And so I was able to lower it really flat, and see it's still risen up quite a bit. So anyway, there's my groove on the underside, where I'm going to deepen that a little bit while I'm trimming. And you simply place it down. My black lines are too small on this one, but you can center it easy enough. Just pull it until it's centered, just a touch more. Yeah, that's pretty good. So basically, put your hand on the top. The rubber pad is holding it in place, but you just keep your left hand on top, just in case it decides to go for a walk. And then using this is that Kemper tool, which is R2. And there's my groove. I've dug in a little deeper there. The clay is almost dry on the rim, it's just leather hard on the underside. I always feel with my little finger just to make sure I've definitely got an undercut there, so I can actually put the picture wire around, because if people want to hang these plates on the wall, give them a chance. They don't have to buy a plate hanger then, just a piece of picture wire. And then here's the trick I showed you in the other video, trimming the other day. You can actually use your metal rib. That's just a metal rib. And for large pieces like this, where you've got a big flat area, just running it across the bottom is all you need to do. Unless you're going to do a foot. I don't throw my plates thick enough to put a foot on the inside. But anyway, there's my rock. And I always like to think I'm helping protect nice wooden tables by burnishing the bottoms of my plates. So this is not soft at all. This is almost dry clay, leather hard. And I just rub that rock in a couple of times, just to give it a glassy surface. I don't know if you'll get the reflection from that or not. Oh, I think you will there. See how shiny that is? That is not going to scratch a table at all. Alright, so I've got one more here. I'll show it again just in case you missed anything. You got your rubber bat on, you got your plate, so the rim is almost dry, whereas the bottom area is still a bit damp. Get your mat, your bat with a mat. It's just, I mean, I made a lot of those. I've got a 24-inch wide one of these bats with a rubber mat on it for trimming really big platters. So one yoga mat will make several of these. Anyway, remember, hand stays on the center. Take off the sharp edge. Use the tool to dig underneath a little bit, just so you've got a really good undercut. In my showroom video, I think I have a platter hanging on the wall above the wood stove. It's a big, huge platter. It's about 21 inches across. Maybe bigger than that, and it's held up with picture wire. Let's hope it's still hung up with picture wire. I have to check every day. I've never had a platter fall off the wall, but I did have a large painting when we were cooking dinner one night. This huge crash in the dining room, and a large painting had simply popped off the wall. The picture wire had broke. And they make that picture wire out of zinc, so it's not supposed to corrode. So it's a good idea to check your paintings every so often. See, that was all it was. There's a little bit. This clay is a bit softer, so a bit of it stuck to that. And then rock, burnish. Try to be careful burnishing the center. If you're pressing down all the time and you're not causing too much friction with your tool or the rock, it's not going to come loose anyway. All right, and that's it. Here's my bat again. Make sure there's nothing on the bat, and then you lift it up. And always be careful lifting with several fingers. Don't just lift with one finger, you'll crack the rim. And there you go. Let's see if you can see the undercut. See, just at the side there, you can see the undercut, so picture wire will easily go around that, and nobody will know how that piece is hanging on the wall. Hi, I'm glazing those plates. Finally, this video has been under production for a couple of weeks. I'm going to do a lot of plates, but I'm going to be doing them in my landscape glazing series where it looks like the ocean washing into a cove, and variations on that. It's taken half an hour just to get my glaze buckets all stirred up and mixed up, so now I've got about a lot of plates to glaze. So I'll get one. Just blow anything off. They've been sitting around a while. They could be a little dusty, but I'm not going to wash them. I never do that. Okay, so let's see. I've got almost all the buckets in view. All right, so you just have to watch what I'm doing. It's going to be hard. Can you still see me? Yep. All right, so I am now going to pour glaze just over the lower third of one of the plates. I got to do this quick. And then I've got 6 or 7 other glazes that I'm simply pouring down both sides of the plate to create what a mountain look, basically. That's what I got with that one. I can't turn, they dribble if I turn them over. So I'll try and keep you up to date, but I gotta be careful too. So each time I apply this glaze, I don't let it get totally dry before I apply the next one. And I don't seem to have crawling problems, and the glazes have to be a little bit runnier than you normally do, so I've had to use the glaze thinner to thin them down a bit. So now I've got that. Now I've got my tomato red here. Now you've got to shake it just to make sure it doesn't run. There you go. Then I've got this new seafoam glaze which I haven't used like this, so this makes everything a bit of an experiment. These glazes are quite thin, and I have sponges strategically placed so I don't actually have my fingers dirty as I do the back of the plate. So there you go. Now I've got my beach. Oh no, I've got the other green first. Can't miss the green. I got 2 greens, the jade and my regular apple green. So you've got to keep your hands clean because you are touching the plate. Get backache doing this. So now we got that. Then I want my beach. If you get the glaze too thick in any one place, you could get crawling. So keep wiping your hand if you get any glaze on you. Now we've got that. Whoop, it's starting to run. That's where the blue is going to go though, so it'll be okay. And I pour the blue over the lower third, and I have my dark blue right next to it, so I'm going to give a little swash in the center of the other blue. Now I'll come back and show you. This is hard for you to really do, but you're just making stripes. Right? Looks like I have a cell tone tower in the corner there. I hope it'll melt in. But alright, so that's what I'm going to do to about 40-50 plates. Okay, I'll see you soon.